If you say I can't fast, what are you really saying? I don't trust my body to heal itself? Is that what's going on? The truth is your body is built to fast. Every animal in nature stops eating when it's sick. Why don't we? Why don't we?
You know, that's funny because we're often told to, you need the feeder code, right? And you're saying that nature, when they're sick, they don't eat, you know? So
Right.
very, very interesting.
I remember that. Feed a cold, starve a fever. Right? But it never really clicked in until now. So today we're going to walk you through on why fasting is so important and how your body can heal on a cellular level if you actually take time to fast. And you can start small by just fasting for a day. And then once you've mastered that, then you can move on to even longer periods of time.
That's it. What if the cure you've been chasing basically begins when you stop eating? That's really deep. You know what I mean? We can cure ourselves by stopping eating. That's kind of deep. Sit back and think about that. We live in a world where food is everywhere and everybody is talking about food. 3 square meals a day. Some people are saying you need 6 small meals a day. Food, it's food. It's whether you have enough. It's stocking up. During COVID, people went crazy in the grocery stores, stocking up with this, because everybody is talking about food. And what happens? Look at the food we're eating. Look at what it's doing to us. There are more obese people now than there ever were in the world. And it's all because they've been preaching food, and how much you're supposed to be eating all the time. And truthfully, you should only really eat when you're hungry. Really.
But you can't manage your hunger now because, you know, you have other entities now managing your hunger for you, you know, because what we've eaten has brought those parasites, right, that come in and start talking. And now, you know, we haven't cleared those parasites out. So, you know, we want to be able to manage, you know, how much we eat. But, you know, sometimes we're emotional eating, we're stress eating, you know, we're eating just because, hey, we might be trying to gain weight, you know, hey, I need to keep these muscles, you know, so I need to keep eating, you know, not realizing that, you know, the body is just in that one state of just constantly chewing and eating and digesting, and your body is just working in a way that it wasn't designed to work. That's like, are you going to drive your car all day?
So I'm glad that you said that, Joy, because what you're really tapping into is the programming, right? Of the program of when you should eat and how many times you should eat. And, you know, once you start to think for yourself and start to unprogram yourself, you start to realize that you don't need to eat as much. And the more important thing is making sure that you hydrate. Hydrate is the most important thing. And even while you're fasting, you know, water, you can hydrate with water or you can hydrate with something else. But, you know, really it's getting rid of the programming and learning how to heal your body for yourself, for your health.
Right. Because you're eating, you know, you're constantly purchasing something to eat. Are you the provider of that food? So, of course, the program is going to benefit them. Hey, we need you guys to keep buying. Right? We need you guys to keep eating. You know, we're not in the business of fasting. We're not in the business of recommending, oh, you know, take a moment in the morning and, you know, don't eat for a couple of hours because your body is still going through a detox phase. No, the first thing they're telling you, hey, grab you something to eat, you know, break your fast, breakfast. They call it breakfast, you know, and typically our days are getting started so early that we're messing up that digestive system and that natural circadian rhythm that does it itself, and we are messing up a program that was designed to make us feel good.
Not designed by man is what it is. There you go. That's the bottom line. Yep. We live in a world where food is everywhere and nourishment is rare. And a lot of times what we're eating is not nourishing us. A lot of times what we're drinking is not hydrating us. a lot of times I have noticed that I get better hydration from a watermelon than I do from drinking water. I try to drink only spring water if I can, because the bottled water, when it's purified, a lot of the good minerals and things are taken out of it. So that's very important as well. But yeah, a lot of your hydration can actually come from fruits instead of drinks, definitely. But we
Right.
should also, take a look at what happens when we're eating all these things and the different foods. Our insulin rises, and that's that sugar. The sugar moves into your cells, and it stays high in your cells,
Mhm.
and that creates storage mode. And your body goes into that storage mode, and it is, what has us moving throughout the day. And when it stores, then next thing you know, you got inflammation, and I've
Mm.
been dealing with that myself. And it's very important for us to be cognizant of that, so that we're watching what we're eating and how it's taken in. I personally went on a fast this week. I normally do once a week. During the cooler months, it's hard to do here in Mexico in the summertime, because if you fast here in the summer, it's so hot outside that when you come back in, you you just want something to eat. It's it's a crazy thing that you really have to get control over. So it's harder to do in the summertime. But I'm doing it starting off this week, and I did it last week, and I'll be doing it again this week. I start on Sunday nights at 8 o'clock, and I normally go until Tuesday morning at 8 a.m., which is 36 hours. This week, I actually stretched it to 5 p.m. on Tuesday, which was 45 hours. And the only reason why I ended up eating, because I was going to do 48 hours, but the only reason I ended up eating was because I ended up going out, and I was out there for about an hour doing some walking. I came back in, I drank water. I added some Celtic salt to it, and it still didn't do the job. And I was feeling really weak. So I
Well,
had some fruit. I had a banana.
those are the moments when you got to push through,
Yeah.
right? And I get that, and fasting looks different, and it's amazing that you're able to do it for 45 hours. That's excellent, Lisa. You know,
Oh, that's not,
fasting also,
I've done 100 hours before. So,
well, fasting also looks like, maybe taking something out of your diet,
hmm.
right? Like I've done 30-day fasts from processed sugar. Like, okay, I'm just not going to do any processed sugar this month. I'm not going to do any gluten this month. I'm not going to do, something that's going to give me some inflammation this month, and I just be cognizant of it, because fasting doesn't look like you don't have to eat, but it start off small by just removing certain things that you don't need to be, in your diet. We know we're getting information. We're getting this information. It's coming across all of our everything, everywhere we are. Health is wealth, remove some things, letting go, detox. We need to stop holding on to certain things. It's interesting that you mentioned, the sugar. When the sugar is sitting there holding inside of you, it creates gas. And I was talking to my mom the other day and telling her, I know when my body has eaten sugar, my gas smells different. Your gas smells different, you
Wow.
know
Hmm. Well, the sugar, that's your insulin. And when you go on the fast, what you're doing is you're stopping that. And after a certain point in your fast, you go through that period of insulin where it kind of stops. And it's a storage, because insulin is a storage hormone.
mm,
And it keeps you tired, and it keeps
mm,
you inflamed. And once you go through that period, you get into a ketosis period where your
mhm,
insulin actually drops and the inflammation eases. And I'm the one. I'm the
that's
one.
like when the fat starts kind of eating itself, right? The ketosis.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mm,
And what
mm,
happens is I'm the perfect example. The way my Crocs fit on Sunday and the way my Crocs fit today as a
mm.
result of just doing that 45-hour fast is totally different.
Removed a
I
lot of
It
inflammation.
removes the inflammation once you do it. You're healing
Mhm.
your body. You're giving your body a
Yeah.
chance to catch up, your digestive tract a chance to catch up with everything else that's going on. you're resetting. The longer you go, if you do a 72-hour fast, you're actually resetting your whole body. Your red blood cells, your white blood cells, you're resetting everything all over again. And that is an important thing because your glycogen that's where you're storing the sugar. Once you get into that the ketosis mood, you're no longer you start in that fat burning mode, and that's, you know what I mean, where you're starting to burn that sugar off, and you're no longer just going off of the sugar, you're actually burning fat at that point. And that's when that weight loss starts to come in as well. But the main thing is you're giving your system a chance to stop. And if you do it for the 72 hours, you're giving your system a chance to stop and totally reset.
Yeah.
And that's like a brand new life. You know what I mean? That's like a brand new life, because
it is. It's a beautiful thing, right? Reset, to hit the reset button. You know, imagine if we all had an imaginary reset button. You know, what would we push it on? Right?
Yep.
I have a question because I'm not an avid faster, and I'm here to learn along with our audience. What are some things that you have to be intentional about when you are going to start a fast?
Let's put it this way. Let's start from the beginning. When we first started this process of the InnerJoy Podcast, we started talking about self-love. Then we started talking about mindset. And then we started talking about overthinking and fear. And so everything ties in together. The most important thing that we do here is mindset. So fasting is 80% mindset. Just like everything, there's an 80-20 rule. Fasting is 80% mindset and 20% going through that fast action. Okay. So that's why we do what we do. We're the InnerJoy Podcast. We're tying it all together because it doesn't all work unless you have it all in there together. So mindset is the main thing. I was talking to a friend of mine last night who stopped smoking. And she said, I'm eating cookies. And I was like, you're not a sweet eater. And she says, I know, but ever since I stopped smoking, I can't stop. I got this sugar craving. And I said, oh, that's parasites. You know what I mean?
No, it's nicotine.
Nicotine too, but it's the mind. And it's the mind. It's the putting something to your mouth. It's the mind. So we have to really stop and be conscious of that and understand what we're doing and why we're doing it and pay attention to that, because the bottom line is, you just keep eating. I stopped smoking in 2007 and it was a process, and I gained a little bit of weight, but I got a hold of it. You got to keep moving. You got to keep doing things. And for a long time after I stopped smoking, I chewed on Black and Milds. Never lit them, but I just chewed on the tip because it was a mouth thing. And the only time it really bothered me, honestly, was when I was in the car driving long distance. And when I was in the car driving long distance, I'd have to buy a 5-pack of Black and Milds. And by the time I would get home, if you could see how the tips of those look, I chewed them up because my nerves were always bad because I'm just one of those kind of drivers. But the bottom line is, it's mine. It's your mind.
So it's interesting you say your nerves were bad, right? So we're doing a lot of things because of our nervous system, right? So we could be nervously eating, nervously smoking, nervously checking our phones, right? Because that's a detox as well, nervously watching the news. Okay, let me see what's going to happen. Or just in that energy of being nervous, and you talk about the sugar. When I grew up in school, we were taught that sugar was the number one drug.
It is, right? More addictive than cocaine. Yes.
Okay.
And they got it in everything, and it's not even real sugar anymore. There was a time when, like here in Mexico, they put real sugar in the Coca-Cola, but you don't get that in the States.
Right. They just started labeling real cane sugar.
Okay.
But what was it before?
High fructose.
Just being mindful of, we're not the suppliers of our own food, right? We're not the suppliers of our own media. We're not the suppliers of our own technology, right? So, because we're not being our own suppliers, then we have to take in consideration that there could be stuff that can be harmful for us because it's not for us.
Exactly.
It's not.
We have to learn to turn it off.
Yeah.
We have to learn
That's
shut it
detoxing.
off and quiet the mind.
You can start there,
Yeah.
and detox can be, when you wake up, you know what, I'm not going to go straight to the kitchen and eat, because we're
And the
in this
first thing you
habit
should do is drink that water anyway.
and
The
we're in
first
this
thing.
routine,
Mhm.
So
I think what you both are talking about is being mindful of what you're consuming. And people also always associate consumption with food. Consumption is the things that you hear, the things that you're watching, observing. That's all part of consumption, and that could be part of the reason why you tend to gravitate towards certain foods and things like that. But based on what you're consuming, you hear somebody say something about something, and now you want it. You see something on the television, now you want it. So it all comes into play. And when Lisa talked about mindset, that's our first episode. If you haven't watched it yet, I encourage you to go back to our first episode and tune into our episode about mindset. And if you like what you're hearing, please subscribe and share it with your friends.
And drop us a comment as well. Definitely. All right, before we get back into this a little bit, I want to go over some things just really quickly so that you understand what the process is. When you're fasting, we're talking about just a water fast, because there are all different kinds of fasts, and I'll go over them with you in a second. But with a water fast, you may add Celtic salt or a little bit of lemon to your water. Those are just the few things that you can use. You can also do a little baking soda. Those things won't break your fast. So from zero to 4 hours, you're just digesting. Your insulin is high. From 4 to 12 hours, your body is burning through glycogen. Your insulin drops and your inflammation eases. From hours 12 to 16, that's when the fat burning begins. You're in ketosis, and your HGH, which is your human growth hormone, that increases. At 16 to 24, you're in autophagy, where your body's in cleanup mode, and that's where the healing starts and begins. In hour 24 to 36, that's when your stem cells start repairing tissue. Okay. In hours 36 to 48, that's when you get into the deep cellular repair. That's when your mitochondria renews, your immune resets, and all of that. And then from 42 to 72 hours, that's when your new white blood cells actually form. Your gut heals, your immune system strengthens. And by hour 72, you're at a full reset where your metabolism, your immunity, and your energy are basically reborn. And
so I'm gonna say this. When you're cleaning up, right? You're thinking about you have to clean up your house. It takes a lot out of you, right? It wears you out. But the end result of a nice clean house is just like feels so good. Same with your body.
and when you
It's gonna
say
it's gonna be difficult going through those hours.
Yeah.
It's difficult sitting here cleaning your whole house, from top to bottom. That we kind of don't even do it like that anymore. We kind of break it up by days. I'm gonna clean the bathroom on Monday, but to clean your whole body at one time, it's going to take a lot out of you. So the best thing to do when you're getting ready to start a fast is to set some time out for yourself. Right? Set this time out because you really don't want to be disturbed. You're going to go through the hangry. You're going to be hangry.
And you have to
You're going to cuss folks out.
You have to get your mindset ready for it. Meditate. Get yourself in that state where you're prepared to go through all of the cycles that you will go through. When you say 72 hours, it sounds like it's a long time, but honestly, 3 days is not bad. If you start on a Sunday night, or you could even start on a Friday night. You go Friday night to Saturday night to Sunday night, and then Monday night you can eat again at 8 o'clock. And then that's also another important thing we need to discuss is when you do begin to eat again after you fast, you have to start with small things, broth, some light fruit like a watermelon or something that your system is not going to have to go in and heavily digest.
Remember, you're trying to reset yourself back to when you was a newborn. Exactly. So when you look at the newborns, every time they eat, they poop, right? They're releasing it. They're getting rid of it, right? It's not sitting there. It's not, and they're not eating what we're eating. They start off with small foods. You might give the baby breast milk, to start off, is what is the best recommendation. Then you might take them into a little bit of cereal, but same with yourself. Be gentle because you just did a reset.
Exactly.
Don't go get that Philly cheesesteak that you was craving the whole time while you was on your fast.
That's a gem right there. I think that's an absolute gem of how you reintroduce foods into your system, because we have a tendency, now that you've been going out food for 3 days, now you want your favorite meal, right? Give me my favorite meal, right?
And a lot of times it can make you sick. It can make you sick.
Exactly. So I think that's a gem right there of gradually introducing foods back in, and start with water-filled foods like fruits and stuff like that. Maybe a light smoothie, something like that, but nothing big.
Yes, cucumbers are always good to keep you hydrated.
Exactly.
Yes, some hydration, because you want to create. When you reset, you want to create that barrier that is hydration. Because the food, once you start putting this cooked food, you're just going to dehydrate. It's going to deplete that water, that oxygen that you just put back into your body. So, create that barrier. Water has always been a barrier, right? And make sure it's some good water. Water absorbs when there is salt added to it. So it's very important to add a little bit of salt to your water while you're doing your fast. We're made up of salt.
And if you have Celtic salt, that's one of the best salts to use at that time.
Yeah. It really makes you feel different than just drinking a plain bottle of water. If you notice, even, the market even noticed that people were dehydrated, that they started creating body armors, Gatorades, Pedialyte, electrolytes. Now you got electrolyte water, right? You have to say, now, why is the market trending to this way? What are they saying?
Because they know they've taken everything, all of the good stuff out of the water when they're purifying it. So it's not really hydrating. There was I think a book called, or it was either a book or a movie, I can't remember, called Water Everywhere and Not Enough to Drink. And it talks about, you're drinking it, and a lot of times I'm drinking water and I'm feeling sluggish. I can feel it moving around and I'm still thirsty. But I've already had like a quart of water, you know what I mean? But it's not hydrating me. It's just making me full.
Yes. You have to think about restaurants. They give you water and bread, right? These fine dining. We're going to give you water and bread to start you out with.
Mm-hmm.
What does water do to bread? Expand it, right? Make you feel full. Right. So a lot of this stuff that we're doing is an illusion. We think we're full, right? All we did was expanding our intestines, and you wonder why you have a gut, because your intestines haven't been expanded.
So here's the payoff. When you're fasting and healing, here's the payoff. Number one, it reduces inflammation. It improves your insulin sensitivity. It boosts your energy, and most important, your mental clarity. Okay. So you got to get your mindset ready in the beginning. And then once you go through it, you're going to be even more clear. It triggers I always have problems with this word, autophagy. And that's your body's detox mode. It strengthens your immunity system. It promotes natural loss, as in fat loss, weight loss. And it supports longevity, because the bottom line is, it's gonna help you heal and reset your body. Another important thing that a lot of people don't even realize is people who have that big C. There are studies that prove that fasting is shown to be very powerful, and because cancer cells depend on sugar, and when you starve the sugar, you can actually help to starve the seed.
Yeah, because they start eating, the cells start eating each other, right?
Yeah, you're cutting the food supply.
The bad cell, yeah.
And so then they're struggling to survive.
You
know what I mean? So that's an important thing, and a lot of people don't realize that, because it feeds off of sugar. It feeds off of sugar. Hormones, hormones have something to do with it too, but it really feeds off of sugar. Let's also talk about the different types of fasting. Intermittent fasting is something that I do during the week after I do a fast. And I normally do 16-8. So I'll eat from, say, 12 o'clock until 8 o'clock. And then from 8 o'clock at night, I don't eat until 12 o'clock the next day. So I'm 16 hours no food, 8 hours in with food. Sometimes I stretch it to 20. Sometimes I eat for 1 hour. So I only have one meal a day and I'll do 23-1. That's intermittent fasting. Then there's alternate day fasting. You might fast 24 hours this day, eat the next day, take the 24 hours the next day. I've done that as well. I've also done it 36 hours, stay off 36 hours, go back on 36 hours. There's extended fasting as well, where you go beyond a 24-hour period, which I do most of the time. Whenever I'm doing my fast, I always do water fast. There's also dry fasting. I can't do that. I got to have some water. I got to have at least some water. But there are people who do dry
fast. I haven't tried it yet, but no. I've heard it's,
There's juice fasting, which is good as well. Get good nutrients and that kind of thing. The only thing I don't like about that is, well, when you juice fast, you want to make sure you're juicing your own juice. You're not drinking juice out of the store, number one. But the most important thing to understand about when you do a juice fast, when you eat the raw fruit, it's one thing. When you juice it, there's more sugar. I don't know how that process exactly works, but once you juice that orange, it has more insulin in it. Okay. So if you're, depending on what you're trying to accomplish when you're fasting, a juice fast can be okay in it, or it may not be. Then there's also a spiritual fast that's for self-discipline, gratitude. And then my favorite fast is a people fast. Okay.
Hey.
That might be my favorite too.
Nothing wrong with taking a moment away to hear yourself.
Exactly.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with loving from a distance.
With you. That's fasting from your environment and really getting inside of you. So you see your inner joy, without those that are around you.
Yeah.
So
ladies, I have one last question for you. So since we are InnerJoy Podcast, how does fasting attribute to your inner joy?
Well, I'm going to tell you, like I said, I had inflammation. So I'm not happy when I have inflammation, especially in my feet. I'm walking, I'm sad. It's hurting. I'm about to start getting out here on the track, walking again. And so fasting is my way to get prepared for that. It's helping me, because if I don't fast and get rid of the inflammation, then I can't really get out there and walk as far as I want to walk. You feel good when you come off of it. You feel refreshed. You feel energized. You want to pat yourself on the back. This is what I accomplished. I'm feeling good about myself. I'm feeling good about my body. You're moving forward in the mind. It's a physical act, but it's really a mental awakening. You know what I mean? It's the hunger passes, and once you get through those minutes of like, you can't have a conversation with somebody who's talking about cooking dinner. You know what I mean? Those little things. And once you get past those things and calm stuff, it's also a time when you are spending time with yourself. Because 9 times out of 10, when you're fasting, you're not going around a whole lot of people. You're home, you're minding your business. It gives you a chance to just be with yourself, look at yourself in the mirror, have conversations with yourself, and get yourself to the point where, you're feeling good about you.
When I did my fast, and probably the longest fast I've ever done was 9 days, and that was just a liquid fast. And you tap into your creativity, right? Because I'm like, okay, I can do everything that's liquid, so I'm making broth because I wanted something savory, because these cravings were still there. But I did a lot of meditation, light exercise like stretching. I consumed my time with things besides just eating, and taking time to, reading a book, just really, really just taking a moment to be still right? We don't really get that opportunity to just be still and come to know who you truly are.
And one thing that I would like to add to both what you both said is that, remember, when you're fasting, you're giving your entire system a chance to reset, right? So just think of, your digestive system, your circulate, like your whole system is getting an opportunity to reset. And that is the best way to be able to move forward. And like Joy just said, you have so much more clarity and you're able to really, really, really tap into your creative side, right? And that's where your joy comes from, is creativity, right? That's what makes us unique. That's what makes the human race unique, is because we have creativity.
So if anybody is interested in fasting, join our community. Down on our community page, on our YouTube page, we have a community page. There's a link there that you can click on and get the free 72-hour fasting guide. And we're going to set up groups in case anybody does want to do any fasting. Join us. We want to set that up, have people come in. We'll probably set up a WhatsApp group where we can all have conversation, talk, encourage, that kind of thing. Just drop a comment below or go to the community and drop a comment. Let us know you want to join. And we're going to set that up. I don't care if it's just one or two of us. I do it every week by myself. But it works better when you do have people that can hold you accountable, or that you can call when you're thinking about that sandwich or that cookie, or, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. You can text or whatever is necessary, because everybody needs a little help here and there. So we definitely want to have you look at our community page, join us, get that fasting guide so that you can be on your way to a physical reset. Okay.
All right. Thank you for joining us.
Is that it?
That's it.
That's it. That's all we got for today. All right. Remember, this is your body resetting itself. Join us here live next week. I don't even know what we're going to be talking about next week. Do you guys know? Anybody?
Next week, we are going to be talking about healing from within. So we're going to be giving you some strategies to be able to heal from within. So you don't want to miss our next episode.
All right.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
All right
Bye.
now.
Bye-bye.
See y'all. And enjoy your day.